What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of V4 ReZero Season 3. This is episode 8, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
Yeah, which is of course the mid-season finale of ReZero season 3, and of course we're gonna have to wait all the way up until February next year to see the rest of it. But yeah, it was a pretty promising episode. It was I honestly thought it would be like a somewhat extended episode like last week's, but it was just just a standard length episode. Um, but yeah, but a lot of developments in terms of what's going on in terms of well, in particular, like the witch cult demands. We remember like last week that Subaru mentioned, what was it? One of the well, actually, the tomes being destroyed, and they can't follow through with that kind of demand. But they're all shocked when Otto reveals that he acquired the remains of the Tome of Wisdom and brought it to the city to be restored, shocking everyone in the room.
Yeah, and he also goes on about how he was, I guess he's always been suspicious of Rosewall. Um,
Hmm.
so that's, and of course, he figured out that Rosewall had acquired the Tome of Wisdom. And yeah, I guess he'd retrieved it. So technically, I guess, one of them still exists. Um, So yeah, but a lot of the episode is just Subaru and the other royal candidates sort of like convening and figuring out a way to basically to try to go up against the witch cult. Um but there's also a lot of like these character moments with Subaru. Well, there's an interesting thing that comes up when Wilhelm tells Subaru about the two witch cultists that him and Garfield faced off against. One of which he reveals he discovered is the identity of his what was it, the eight armed, what was his name, like the
The eight armed swordsman they call them.
yeah. So that was the identity of one of the cultists, but then I kind of a little bit surprised that they revealed this, but the identity of the other witch cultist is actually I think it was Teresa Van Estrella, which is Wilhelm's deceased wife. But she is she's definitely dead, but she was brought back from the dead and is being controlled as like an undead, just a corpse. So I guess whoever is controlling her has the ability to basically, I guess, create zombies. And
Yeah,
yeah.
and of course, Wilhelm requests that Subaru not reveal this to Reinhard. I mean, just due to the fact that, um, I mean, much of what happened between what Wilhelm and Reinhard's strained relationship did come off from Teresa's death during the battle against the White Whale. And of course, Wilhelm reveals that she did have divine protection uh, before then, but by the time, I guess, when Reinhard was born, her divine protection transferred into Reinhard, which in turn caused her to lose her life against the White Whale in the process.
Yeah, apparently the divine protection is something that I guess is passed down through the generations of the Rhine of the
The
family.
Australians,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, but still, what Wilhelm, asks Subaru not to reveal this. So, but it gets brought up again in the meeting anyway. But of course, they only Subaru and only reveals the identity of the eight arms swordsman, but not Teresia, because of course Reinhard is a part of the meeting too. Um, and of course, I think soon afterwards, Subaru goes to see Crush, who's of course still bedridden, from I guess like from taking the dragon's blood from Capella. But something strange happens in which Subaru ends up touching her, which causes Subaru to, I guess, he absorbs some of the dragon's blood from Crush's body, which in turn allows her to heal, I guess, some of the damage. So Subaru tries to, I guess, tries to go. like goes through the lengths of trying to heal her completely, but Crush stops him from doing so.
Yeah, because I guess it's because Crush wants him to be able to to fight and not basically just be in a condition where he can't do anything because he's absorbed all the dragon's blood. Um, and she's, I guess, going to stay behind and I guess try to rest up.
I mean, it's hard to say like how much of the dragon's blood is hindering her abilities as of
It
right now,
seems
but
like I mean, yeah, it seems like about half of her body has been like just is yeah, has like the dragon's blood, which kind of makes half of her body look like she's almost like a burn victim. Um, but then
yeah, but
Subaru like absorbed some of it in his arm.
yeah, it looks like she's almost somewhat healed, but you can clearly see like there's like these little veiny contusions from like parts of her face and body
Yeah,
soon afterwards, even though like she's got some color in her skin again. um but yeah, Subaru respects her, her decision not to go follow through with like having Subaru help her out even further. So the everyone in the group decided to follow up on the plan. I think trying to remember the whole grouping thing. I think Priscilla and Liliana volunteered to confront Sirius, um, with by having Liliana using her singing ability to counter Wrath's authority. I think Wilhelm and Garfield are tasked to confront Capella, and I don't remember. And then Reinhardt and Subaru, of course, confronting Regulus to rescue Amelia.
I
Oh,
think
I think Julius and Ricardo are also tasked to track down Gluttony too.
yeah, yeah. So basically, like all of them are each one of them are going to try and find and fight one of the Saint Archbishops. Um,
Yeah,
But yeah, then we cut back to Amelia and Regulus about to perform the wedding ceremony with all of Regulus's wives in attendance. And uh, I guess up until this point, Amelia had been trying to somewhat like appease Regulus, or not trying to basically like not make him angry, because we see how easily he gets offended and flies off the handle. But in this scene, Amelia just shows that she's not afraid of Regulus, and essentially just decides to, do whatever she can to, make him, well, which, like I said, isn't much to really just like kind of set him off. And he's. She basically like says that she's not, more or less that she's not going to go through with the wedding, and that she doesn't, she's not in love with him, and that she, in so many words, I guess, says that she, like, when she's ready, that she will, I guess, be with Subaru, which of course, Regulus doesn't take too well, and he, like, of course, like right before he can do anything to her, the doors of the chapel like come flying off, and it just conveniently hit Regulus and send him flying. And then we see that both Subaru and Reinhardt have arrived at the chapel to basically to rescue Amelia. And unfortunately, that's where this episode ends, and that's where I guess this mid-season, that's where the mid-season finale is. I guess it's a good way to sort of end things off for now, considering that, each of the different royal selection candidates are going to fight each of these different Sin Archbishops, as well as, Subaru and Reinhardt going off to rescue Amelia. So it definitely seems like that's probably what's going to be the rest of this season, is just like, because I think the next part of this arc is going to be called like the counterattack arc. So it's just going to be, that obviously Subaru and the others just fighting against the Saint Archbishops. So I'm interested to see how they handle that. I definitely am curious to see how they're going to fight Regulus. It seems like, I mean, you would think that Reinhardt probably wouldn't have much of a problem fighting Regulus, even though he is shown to be he's shown to be very powerful. But Reinhardt is also incredibly overpowered. So I mean, the only thing I can assume is that Regulus would use all his wives as hostages or something, or something to make Reinhardt hold back to where he couldn't just easily like wipe the floor with him.
Yeah, if we remember what happened with Reinhardt's fight against, you know, what was it?
Serious.
Sirius after what I mean after he quote unquote killed her, he had accidentally ended up killing Subaru and several of the other people around the vicinity.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a really good episode. A lot of it was mostly set up for what's going to happen in the next part of the season. But we did also get some interesting things with the reveal of Teresa being one of the cultists, at least her, I guess, a zombie version of her, as well as just, at least we kind of got to find out that Crush is not like, I guess is in a slightly better state than what we assumed she was in initially, even though she's obviously not in great shape. But I was assuming, based on what people were saying about her character, that she was either going to be completely like removed from the story after what happened to her with consuming the dragon or having the dragon's blood inside her. But it seems like she's still going to be a part of it. She's just kind of in the background right now. But yeah, it's just I do feel bad for Crush as a character though, because it seems like a lot of bad things. I mean, a lot of bad things have happened to all the characters, but she's had she first of all like lost all of her memories and has amnesia, and now she's got like the dragon's blood inside her, so like I guess like it seems like maybe like half of her body is paralyzed, if I could guess, or something like that.
I mean, everything she's done, like from the first season and helping to take down the white whale to now, which is like a complete 180 of her situation right now. I mean, of course, this is not going to help her, with the whole royal selection candidacy, considering that, like,
and in season 1, it seemed like she was one of the most qualified people in the royal selection, but now after she's gotten amnesia, it almost seems like she's still the same person, but she also seems a little bit different after she's lost all of her memories. So and now she's got the whole situation with her, like, having the dragon's blood. So yeah, that
I mean, before, like, she used to have like this overall commanding presence, like, before she lost her memories, but she doesn't have that same personality as she did before.
Yeah, it did kind of alter her personality to some extent. But yeah, I thought these, definitely, season 3 has been like really good so far. I would argue it's so far even just slightly better than season 2. Even though season 2 was really good, this, like, I think season 3 has been just as good, if not somewhat better. And I'm interested to see where they go from here, with the rest of it. There's been some pretty crazy reveals, and there's been a lot of, I mean, it's definitely the most action heavy that we've seen the series because of, I guess because all the Sin Archbishops are now just in like one place. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it though. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
Yeah, it's yeah, I think it's like, like you said, it's the most action heavy season, throughout the entire series so far. It's kind of unfortunate that it does feel like, it's one of the shorter seasons thus far. I mean, considering that season 1 was like what, 20, like a full 24 episodes, 24, 25 episode long series. Season 2 had at least 2 cores as well. But this season is like much shorter, much shorter, unfortunately, with just, what was it, 8 episodes per core. I mean, well, considering that the first episode was like 90 minutes long, I could assume that the same thing could apply to one of the episodes for next year.
Yeah, we could get a really long episode in the second core. And also, I guess it remains to be seen how they're going to handle Arc 6, considering obviously the rest of the season is going to be Arc 5. And they did say that we were getting Arc 5 and Arc 6, I think. So I don't know how they're going to do that. But I guess I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I guess that all being said, guys. Until next time, we will see you all later.